Hey, welcome to the Art of Relationship show, people. Hold on, we're going to get into a live Q&A about dating, relationships, and marriage, okay? So, that's where I want to look at, what is going on and what is happening on those situations, okay? So, don't go anywhere. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Art of Relationship show. Last week I missed. I took a couple days off actually, so to trying to re-energize myself, right? Care for the caregiver. I don't know if it worked or not, right? I'm still exhausted. A lot of people I noticed this week, maybe it's just me, but I talked to a bunch of other people, right? And everybody's like dragging booty. I'm dragging booty. So, a lot of people are like just walking around in a daze, me included, this week. And I don't know if it's going around to everybody else. So, welcome to the Art of Relationship show, people. Hopefully, the camera, the sound, everything's going smooth on all the formats. And as always, excuse me, you can join in the live chat down below. I know allergies are kicking up again, so I might be. Let me clear my throat. I'll be clearing my throat throughout the show, so I apologize. I know, so unprofessional, right? Hey Nina, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Leslie, thanks so much for joining in. As always, you can join in the live chat down below. You can throw out your questions, anything related to dating, marriage, yes, sex, intimacy, relationships, anything I can do to help people out. Um, Full disclosure, I am actually legit. Excuse me. I am a fully licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan here in Detroit area, and been doing this actually next month, August, it'll be 22 years. So I've been doing this a long time, and I'm always learning, always wanting to grow, always want to become better, and to help people more. That's what my passion is. Okay, so if you can share, up above, down below, sideways, share the episode on your page, on your timeline. Anything I can do to try to help as many people out there as possible to have or achieve an awesome relationship, to have a great marriage relationship. Maybe you just want to date and be single forever and ever, right? Whatever I can do to help people out there. Hey, Ehab, my buddy, what's going on, man? To help people out there down below. And again, disclosure I do on every show episode, this does not replace, it doesn't replace the actual professional counseling, psychotherapy I do in my office. Obviously, because of consent forms I needed, this does not, go meet HIPAA guidelines, privacy, those type of situations. Okay. So, Rocco, I appreciate you. Hey, joining in, man. So I want people to, anything I can do to help you out. And going to be talking about a certain topic. And like I said, I'd love the show to be lively, kick off, throw your questions out there. And what are your thoughts about friends with benefits? How many people have been in that situation before? Maybe you're in that situation before. And what are your thoughts about poly relationships, polyamorous, open relationships? And there is a difference. I'll get into that in a bit. And I'd love to know what your take is on those situations. A lot of people look at, everyone's supposed to be monogamous, everyone's supposed to be, all this, whatever, right? Me personally, I'm monogamous, one-on-one, heterosexual. That's what I am. But I do work with a lot of same sex lesbian, identified as women, lesbian couples. So I work with swingers. I work with open relationships, friends with benefits. I work with polyamorous situations, okay? So I work with a bunch of different, a very diverse population dealing with either couples, marriages, or a dating relationship. Hey, Camille, what's going on? I appreciate you. Peace. So throw out your questions, anything I can do to help people out, and it doesn't have to go with the topic at hand, right? So, Friends with Benefits, I think most people know there's been a couple movies um, out there. Justin Timberlake has been in one. There's been a few other ones out there as well, right? Um, with Jennifer Aniston, I can't even remember uh, what the heck the name that was, but everyone's Friends with Benefits, all those situations, different movies out there, right? So Friends with Benefits, right? They're friends, but they usually, typically, not always, just meet up for sex, for intimacy, right? For the physical pleasure. They might not even maybe like each other that much. They might not know each other that much, but some of them, they do know each other well, right? And with Friends with Benefits, there is usually about 15% that end up being happy in that situation, okay? So those are situations you look at with Friends with Benefit. Only 15% end up being happy. Hey, Terry, what's going on? Micah, what's happening? So these are those situations to be able to look at. If those situations, if you thought about it, right? If maybe you've been in a friends with benefits situation, what you want, whatever. But in my experience, working with people, couples, that maybe they went through a heartbreak that were in a friends with benefits situation, it's usually a high percentage, like I said, usually 80%, maybe even 85% one person will end up getting hurt. One of them will end up catching feelings, and the other one usually, oh, that's not what we signed up for. I'm done. Okay, we're done. I'm not doing this. It's just booty calls, right? It's 80 to 85% of people with friends with benefits, and it doesn't matter on the gender. Everybody assumes it's women falling in love with the guy or maybe same sex relationship, right? They assume it's always the woman. No, it's not, right? A lot of women, the guy falls for them and they're like, no, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want anything serious. I'm done. The 15% end up maybe falling in love with each other like you see in the movies, right? But the movie is not an accurate depiction of what actually happens. Most situations with friends with benefits, it ends up being one person falls for the other and it ends up ending. Okay. So please join in the chat. Throw your questions down below, people. One person, who are you talking to? I'm talking to the audience out there, okay, on social media land. And again, share the episode, share this live on your timeline, your pages, wherever you're listening to, okay? And I want to help as many people out there. And again, throw your questions out there, about dating, relationships, marriage, intimacy, sex, whatever I can do to help you out there to get more fulfilled, to feel more maybe in love, to feel more connected with your partner, and also to be able to look at what is going on. Hey, Jenny, hey, what's going on? I appreciate you showing up. So I look at, these situations, and Hank from Breaking Bad, right? To be able to look at how I can help you get more connected, improve your intimacy level, at the same time is promoting self-love and self-respect for yourself, right? I don't want anyone to be miserable, to sell themselves out, and I mention this on every episode, okay? So that's where I want to be able to look at joking. Bro, I like your content, man. Keep it up. I appreciate it, man. Peace. Peace and love out there. So to be able to look at, like I said, friends with benefits, it's usually one person's going to catch feelings, usually close to 85%, okay? the 15% where friends with benefits end up being happy, okay, are usually either both are okay, friends with benefit, whatever, and they might find the love of their life down the road, or they end up together because they both fall for each other, okay? But that is a small percentage. And it's looking at how many people have been in the situation, how many people have been in a friends with benefits situation and they fell for the person. Maybe you got your heart ripped out, and everybody has these expectations, right? What it's going to be able to, look like. Wait, we're just going to hook up for sex, right? We're just going to hook up for those type of situations. And what happens is, you go into it with intent, right? Great intent. And one person catches feelings. And it's one of those things that I don't think it can be avoided. It's one of those situations the heart wants what the heart wants, but that doesn't always mean it's healthy for you, right? I deal with a lot of people that have been through, that are single, just recently went through a divorce, went through a breakup, and their hearts get ripped out. My heart bleeds for everybody, right? Heartbreaks are the worst. That's why I do this. That's why, I've been doing this a long time. And that's why I do the show, to be able to look at, helping people heal through heartbreaks, but also to become more connected in their marriages, relationships, and also give them maybe the courage, the strength to be able to go after and look at the love you deserve. And there's a difference between being deserved versus being entitled to, right? A lot of people, I'm entitled. I don't have to do anything. I get all the love I want. No, not at all. How many girlfriends you got? Actually, at the beginning of the show, I said I'm monogamous, heterosexual, right? So I'm not gonna have. I'm not the type. I'm not a playa. That type of situation. Okay, it's not who I am. But I tell people, if you want to be single, be single. Just don't lie to people. That is, say you want to just be single, date around, whatever, but don't lie to people. Not at all, right? Don't lie to people and tell them you want a relationship, you're looking for marriage, you're looking for a long term relationship. Don't lie to people, don't mislead people. I'm not about that, and I don't promote that in my office. I don't promote that anywhere. So if in some people, what you're dating, you're looking for a long-term relationship, leading the marriage, living together, whatever you want. And what happens is that, you could go with somebody, you're intimate with somebody, and all of a sudden you feel like, you know what, the feelings aren't there like I thought they were. And that happens, right? How many people have been in that situation? I have before too. I'm sure a lot of people have. And then you tell that person and you're open and honest, and they say, "Oh, you just used me." No, I didn't use you. Um, that's not what I look at, I didn't use you. It's just the feelings weren't there like I thought they were. It wasn't, I was being open and honest and legit. I am looking for a long term relationship. Be honest about it. Go after it, okay? Why is cheating bad? Well, let's face it. Um, it's not consensual cheating, right? Emotional, mental, physical. It's not consensual. Then I guess if it was consensual, it wouldn't be cheating, right? So, and we'll get into open relationships, poly situations down the road. But cheating rips out the heart of the other person, okay? Cheating is disrespectful. That's mostly what I work with, okay? A lot of couples, one cheated, both cheated, that type of situation. Most of the couples I work with and have those type of situations, okay? So cheating is bad. It's disrespectful. It rips the other person's heart out. It destroys trust. It kills respect. So cheating is bad. I understand why it happens. One person might not feel loved, respected, all this stuff for a long time, and they want to stay married, and stuff happens. Again, it's not condoned or excused, not at all. but I understand the dynamics of maybe what happened. A lot of people, there's a lot of bias about it, and a lot of people will look at, I never condone it, it's never a good idea, but I understand what causes it, okay? What if I'm dating a bad person, narcissist, for pleasure? Well, then is that consensual? Does that person you're dating know you're only like a friends with benefit, like I talk about? You're only dating them for pleasure, him or her, and are you open and honest about that? If you're not, and you're only using that person, regardless if they're a narcissist or not, you said dating a bad person, then my question is, are you going to be open and honest with them what your intentions are? Maybe their intentions are that with you as well. And like you said, a bad person, narcissist, they're not going to tell you anyways, right? They're going to keep doing what they're doing. Or some people, yeah, I'm only using you for pleasure. And then the person wants something else, right? They're being maybe open and honest. I'm only using you for sex, for pleasure. And then the person, you might be the one only looking for pleasure too. And all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, my heart got ripped out even though I was looking for pleasure." So it's funny or ironic, not really funny, how the heart can act and flip the script once in a while. But I'm not about people using each other, pleasure, emotionally, whatever. That's why I promote people being open, being honest. And I help couples in my office that, about being open and honest with each other. I'm not about people lying. I'll never promote couples lying to each other, misleading each other, that type of situation. I even have a disclosure statement, an agreement for couples to sign when I see them regarding this, because I don't want to be in that situation, okay? And now, talk about friends with benefits, talking about a polyamorous situation, okay? And there's another question. Like I said, throw out your questions down below, people. I love it, okay? But I want you to be able to look at, is it okay to be poly? Yeah, it is okay to be poly. But there's always a caveat, right? It has to be consensual. There is nothing wrong with being poly, being swingers, being in an open relationship, as long as all parties involved are in agreement. It's consensual. You know what? It's not okay to be in a poly situation, or you're in a poly, but the people involved have no idea. Okay? So those are the situation I want people to be able to look at and to be able to understand. So that needs to be consent, all about that, okay? You have to be open and honest. Yeah, I want a poly, I want an open relationship. But all those situations also are with consent, and they all have their rules and boundaries, as maybe they should, right? So nobody gets hurt, everybody's on the same page, everything is clear. That's why I said I'm huge on expectations. They can change and evolve, but that's where I want people to be, open and honest about, what is your definition of a poly situation? The difference between a poly situation and an open relationship typically is there might be, there's maybe three people in love with each other, where open relationship is usually typically maybe about sex, right? About physical pleasure with somebody else. Swingers, there's people that swing, there's people that swap, where they know the couple and they swap with each other. They like each other and it's for pleasure, fun, openness, that type of situation too. That's the huge difference between like an open relationship and poly. Most of the situation with the poly, it's maybe three people have feelings for each other, and it's sexual, it's intimately as well, and they're all in agreement. And an open relationship is, being open. Hey, I'm married, I'm in, not me personally, but people, I'm married, I'm in a relationship, and we have this agreement. And there are some people that are in a relationship, are married, but they're lying to that other person saying, oh, we're in an open relationship. We have this agreement. And people get lied to, right? I don't want that. I want people to be open and honest. But I got so many stories to tell about people lying, women, men lying to the other person that their wife, their husband's okay with it. I tell them, did you ever ask them? Let me check. Let me make sure they're okay with this. You get me? And then they'll say, oh, no, you can't do that. Well, I thought you said they're okay with it, right? So you want to make sure everybody's on the same page and it's open, it's consensual. All parties know they're in agreement, okay? So there's a lot of people out there, women, men, that will start dating. They're on dating apps. And what they're going to happen is, they tell people they've been dating. They have somebody fall in love with them. And it's been 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And all of a sudden, their other person finds out they're married. They're living with somebody. You get me? That's wrong, because that's disrespectful. That's lying. Not only are you lying to that new person, you're lying to the one that you're living with, right? Or married to. And, oh, it's unhappy. Or some people, oh, we've been divorced, okay? We're divorced, been divorced a year, and then to find out they're not even divorced yet. They haven't even filed for a divorce yet. And one person is lying to the other one, okay? So I'm not about that. I want people, and that's selfish, that's arrogant, and it's not taking anyone into consideration to some, for that other person, for anybody except for themselves. And that is a very, very selfish, disrespectful place to be at, and to treat others that way. Like I said, I'm all about consensual. I'm all about being open and honest with everybody. And can you go from there, okay? What advice would you give your 20-year-old self? Oh my gosh. I have a lot of there's so much advice I would give to each other. Oh boy. Maybe be more conservative, be better with money, saving. I probably would not have my daughter right now, so that wouldn't be, I don't want to take that away. There's a lot of stuff, keep chasing dreams, be smart about it, have a great work ethic. And I've always had a great work ethic. That's what got me here. So be smart, be more confident. My 20-year-old self, I was not confident at all. Not at all. I had no game, no swag. Now I tell people, I joke around, I have all kind of swag and game. Excuse me. But to have confidence, to promote self-love and self-respect, to, look at that you are worthy of love, and it's not trying to be what somebody else wants, to be comfortable in your own skin, and trying to teach and promote what that even looks like to my 20-year-old self. So that would be probably tops I would go after. Stuff I had no clue about when I was 20. That type of situation, okay? I was engaged at 20. Was I married at 21? Yeah, I think I was married at 21 or 22. I can't remember. And then, divorced at 25. So that's where you look at those situations, okay? Hey, Sheldon, what's going on, man? Hey, what's happening? So these are where I want people to understand, the difference about being upfront, being, consent, where everybody's in agreement. If it's a poly situation, an open relationship, what are the rules? What are the boundaries? You're not gonna, if you be intimate with somebody else in an open relationship, it's not gonna be, the other person's relative, friend. Everybody has certain rules and what that looks like, okay? So how many people, even when you're dating or you've been married a long time, and all of a sudden you're like, or your partner brings up, I want an open relationship. Hey, I'm thinking about a poly relationship. Maybe we should become swingers. Like I said, that's not me, but I work with a lot of couples, a lot of individual that are in, they have sexual diversity, right? That's how I put it. That there's a lot of diversity out there, and a lot of people look at, oh, that's wrong. No, it's not wrong if all parties are in agreement. We're going to talk about the concerns, the worries, safety aspects, right? Emotional safety, physical safety, safe sex, all that stuff. And, we're going to talk about consequences, like if one person, they're in an open relationship, they're in a poly situation, they're swingers, or they swap, right? What happens if one person ends up falling in love with somebody else? And that's a huge risk. Oh, we're never going to do that. We have these rules and boundaries. It's all about us, and then physical pleasure outside of that, along with ourselves. However, it's one of those things that you can try to guard against, but there's no guarantee that you will fall in love with somebody else. Not at all. But there's no guarantee you won't either. And that's where the dicier situations, and if people are in that situation, poly situation, maybe, you might have one guy, two women, right? Or there's two guys, one woman, right? Where there might be one person bisexual and the other one's not. And they get all, in that situation, okay? Now, there's got to be rules, there's got to be boundaries, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. One person mentioned, my girlfriend cheated on me, and now I'm going to date her best friend. Now, are you dating her best friend out of revenge, out of being vindictive, or do you really like her best friend? And that's a dicey situation as well, because if you're doing it out of vindictiveness, you're doing it to get back at your girlfriend for cheating on you, you need to take her best friend into consideration. Are you leading her on? Are you telling her, lying to her, telling her what she wants to hear just so you can get even at your ex-girlfriend? Again, you need to take that other person into consideration, okay? Big time. So, like I said, I'm not about people using other people to get vengeance. I'm not about other people using other people, playing other people to get back at an ex or their current girlfriend, husband, wife. Hey, Derek, what's going on? What's happening? Jenny, I appreciate you showing up. Woo! Like I said, throw out your questions down below, people. Share this episode on your timeline, your page. And I want to ask as many questions as I can out there, to help as many people, have a great relationship, have a great marriage if that's what they want, to sort of kick up the sex life a little bit, to make it more entertaining, to make it more, what do I want to say? To make it more live, it could be more connected. Some people will look at their intimacy that it feels just physical, and they don't feel like it's emotionally connected mentally, and they want that. So I want to help couples and help people to get there if that's what they want. And a lot of people look at, and I tell people, I want to know what your view, how you want to be loved. What does a happy, healthy relationship, marriage, whatever, dating life look like to you? And then I can help you go after it and look at what we could do to have that situation, okay? Because you're going to have a lot of professionals, a lot of people out there on social media tell you and dictate to you what a healthy, happy relationship is. No, I don't do that. I know what it is, and it's not abusive, it's not toxic. But other than that, you design what a healthy, happy relationship is for you. Okay? What advice would you give to a relationship that is thinking of traveling long distances for work? Now, this is a great question. Weeks to months on an end. This is a great question. Let me get a drink of water. Sorry about that. And this is very, very difficult, okay? And I deal with this a lot. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. I deal with it often, maybe not a lot, okay? So the situation is where one person is, they're transferring. They have to, it could be an engineer building, working on a new plant or a new project, and they have to be gone for 6 weeks at a time, maybe to Mexico, maybe to South Korea, maybe to China, Taiwan, wherever, Germany. Or, you know, some people are gone for 3 months, and some companies will fly them back, maybe once a month, that type of situation, or they'll fly the partner out to them once a month. And it's very, very difficult in these situations. The advice I would give, look at ways that you can stay connected, okay? And it sucks. There's a lot of people that, let's face it, combat vets, right? Active duty military. Of course, I give them a lot of credit. When they're married, active duty, and they might be shipped overseas, and their husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, are left here for 9 months at a time, 6 months, maybe a year. And this is where I tell people to stay connected. And it could be with over the road truck drivers too, where they see each other maybe once a month, every other weekend. What can you do to stay connected, even though it can't be physically in the moment? Maybe you can have video sex with one another. Maybe you can, whatever, mutual video sex, masturbation with each other, okay? So, but what else besides the physical? It's not going to be there, especially with trust, right? That you only want each other, that you're not going to cheat on each other, okay? So, not only that, but staying connected, it could be through, if possible, text messages, right? Phone calls, emails. It's not the same. Let's be honest. You can't give each other a hug, a kiss, because you're not there. But I advise what can be done to stay connected to your person, even if you can't physically. It's excruciating. It's not easy. I'm being honest, okay? And it's looking at, in these situations, there's sometimes where one person or both, they can't do that, okay? They get miserable, they get lonely. I get that. And I tell people what are the best that you can do, and to try to put these steps in place, ways to stay connected. Usually it's emotionally, maybe talking, video chat, right? That you can do video calls with each other. You can do, virtual calls on whatever platform you're using, Skype, Zoom, Google Meets, I think is still out there. Whatever you use, that's another way. And I highly advise it that you can do, even though it's not the same. Nothing is going to be the same as being there in person. But I try to look at what can you do to make do, and are there other people to talk to, right? The vent, to be there for you emotionally, maybe friends, family. And the one person that is traveling, like I said, they're maybe active duty, they got deployed. They can talk to their fellow combat troops and fellow military personnel to talk about the same thing, to have that support mechanism, to set that in place, that it sucks, it does suck. It's not easy. And some people, if it's a constant thing that they're traveling and gone 3 6 months at a time, and they see each other once a month, and one person, I didn't sign up for this, or I thought I could handle it, and then they can't. And that's the reality, unfortunately, of those situations. And then one person's looking at, do you try to get another job, right? And again, it's very subjective. One person, well, if you really love me, I have the career I love. Or if you have another one, if you really love me, you'd find another career or job, right? Is there a situation? And it all depends on, what is most important to an individual. And everybody's, that battle. Well, if you really love me, you'd have a kid with me. Well, if you really love me, you'd be okay not having a kid. And that's that part of that tug of war with your heart and your soul about, um, it's hard. It's very difficult. And if one person gives up their dream career, are they going to be okay with that without having that resentment? Are they going to, hold that resentment against that other person? I don't want that. And that's where we can talk about that and set that in place, okay? And I definitely don't want that to be a hindrance, and it's very difficult, okay? So that's where I want, look at the realities about setting that in place. And it's a great question because there's a lot of people, they travel for business they're gone every other week, or, at least once a week out of a month, those type of situations, okay? And it's difficult looking at those things to keep in place, to stay connected. Video calls, definitely. Text messages, those type of things, emails. What are things that you can still do? Send flowers, send whatever to one another. Different ways that you can still stay connected, at least emotionally. Virtually, face to face, you can hear each other's voice. You can see each other. You can see each other's facial expressions. Of course, you can't be physical with that person, though, right? So that's my advice. It's a great question, and I deal with that often. Where one person, it could be CEO, it could be a professional athlete, baseball, hockey, NBA, football, not so much because it's different. They might travel for a few days and be back. Where NBA, baseball, hockey, they could be on a road trip, right? And be gone for a week and a half, 2 weeks at a time, and then come back. So you're looking at, the parameters about still staying in contact, and what is needed to set that in place. Or if it becomes that difficult, then you have to look at decisions. What is going to be best for you? What is going to be best for the relationship and the marriage? Okay. And it's not easy. And that's where a lot of people will look at, um, you gave up your marriage, you gave up your relationship, you were selfish. Um, and I tell people, would you want someone to be with you, even though that you love them, your heart is there? Let's face it. Would you want someone to be with you if they're not happy? Or would you want someone to be with you that are miserable? Or also, you look at, you can love that person and want them to, have their career and all that. But again, how do you want to be loved? And, nothing's perfect. But it looks like if you don't feel loved, appreciated, desired, respected, a priority, and it lasts for a long time, it's hard, man. That's where, like I talked about at the beginning, someone asked about cheating. And that's why I said I understand why cheating happens. I never excuse it, never condone it, never. But I understand what happens. Um, People might feel a certain way, and they talk to their partner and it doesn't change. They have kids, worried about money. They still love their person. They just want to be loved back. And, I get it. Matters of the heart are difficult, they're not easy. So great questions. Ask your questions and looking at that. And these are things you want to look at too. And I talked about probably a few weeks ago, a month ago, and maybe a month ago now, about dating. What are you looking for? Do you want someone? Are you okay with somebody that has career aspirations where they know they're going to be traveling a lot, right? Or they know, what? My partner doesn't want me to travel or have that job, but I have these career aspirations to become a CEO, a managing partner, whatever. I want to manage a team. I want to be, high up as high as I can go in a corporation or company. And then, you know what? You have to look at what's involved with that. Some people, you might be a certain situation, but then they transfer you every 3 years. Now, where are you going to go with that? Okay. So, and again, it's not easy. And those are decisions that you need to make, and it's hard because some people, oh, I can be okay with that, and then things change. But that's where I want people, and I said I'm direct. I go after consequences. I don't want bad things to happen, but I want people to look at. I want you to be prepared. You could be okay with this for a while. Great, awesome, but that could change. I don't want it to, but I want people to learn and be open and be prepared. Okay. What's your advice dating someone with parental issues and they negatively affect your relationship? Now, I need to, can you clarify that question for me? Because I can look at their parents are involved in your relationship, or the way they parent negatively affects your relationship. So I look at the parents themselves. Okay. So the parents themselves, I deal with this a lot too, where mom, dad, both of them are intrusive to your relationship or marriage, right? And this is, to me, it's an easy go-to, but I know it's not. It's your relationship. And especially if you're married, living with somebody, maybe you're not going to get this right off the jump. You're dating someone for a month, maybe 2 months. And I always say the trust and respect have to be earned. So as the relationship progresses, then the parents become less of a factor in your relationship. If they don't, chances are that relationship's going to end, or it's going to be toxic, or it's going to become very dysfunctional. Because what's going to happen if somebody, hey, Alana, what's going on? Peace. If that happens where one of the partners, okay, allow their mom, their dad, whoever, stepmom, stepdad, to intrude in your relationship, they need to stop that. And what happens is a lot of people won't. It's my mom. It's my dad. I love them. What do you mean? We talk about anything and everything. No, the relationship marriage has to be sacred. That has to be private. Okay? Why did you get involved with somebody? It's not you, your mom, and your husband, or you, your mom, and your wife, girlfriend, boy. You get me? No. It's what do you do to evolve that and grow that? And it depends on culture, depends how you're raised. And I usually tell people, you know what? You have to put that parent in their place. Hey, I love you, but this is our relationship. You need to stop. And there's people that will come in, oh, you need to, you shouldn't be doing that to your kids. Oh, you know what? If this was my house, you need to do this with your house, and you, excuse me? That's disrespectful on the parent's part. But I look at, do you tell them, is it allowed? Does your partner, or maybe you're in that situation where, oh, I can't tell my mom anything. It's going to destroy your relationship or marriage. And then you want your partner to understand, but it's my mom. It's my dad. It's my sister. It's my brother. We're sisters. We're brother. But then, why are you in a relationship? Why are you married? Or let's be honest, okay? A lot of people might be dating for a while and it never changes. You move in together and it never changes. That parent is still very intrusive in your relationship. Number one, because it's allowed. Let's be honest, okay? I'm blunt. Because it's allowed. Now, we're married. All of a sudden it's going to change. Hold on. You dated, it hasn't changed. Exclusive relationship hasn't changed. You lived together before getting married, which is okay, I promote, and it hasn't changed. What makes you think that it's going to change when you get married? Oh, let me guess. Your partner, who never put their parents in their place and allowed their parents to be intrusive, with your relationship, they told you, oh, once you're married, it's going to change and stop. No, I never advise that. I tell people you want to see it change before you get married. Because again, a lot of people will look at the situation where, oh, they believe them. Well, I didn't believe you when you said we'll live together, it would change. It hasn't. You want to see evidence, and that's not, it's being disrespectful of them, thinking that you're going to be okay with them blowing smoke up your butt and lying. Oh, you don't believe me. I can't believe that. I can't. Well, I don't believe you based on evidence because you didn't do it when you said you were going to do it then, when you said you were going to do it then. It's that type of thing about putting yourself in each other's shoes, okay? How about their parents are violent towards each other and that negatively affect the relationship? Now, I'm sorry to hear that. And I get into parents being toxic. They've been married 40 years, 50 years, and they're toxic and they're still married. And how does that affect your relationship? Okay. Now I'm going to look at, is it because one parent, both parents, they're violent towards each other. So they're always trying to get you to get put in the middle, right? Oh, they beat me, they hit me, they slapped me, called me all this. My advice to that is you need to push them out of your relationship. I love you, but that's your business. I don't want to hear it. That they try to alienate one parent against the other, play the victim, or they keep maybe in abusive relationship, right? That is violent towards each other, but they won't leave that relationship. They won't get help. Then my advice is, and I would tell if it's your parents, right? I would tell them then it's going to destroy your relationship if you allow. I know you love your parents, your mom, dad, whatever. You might love them, but that's not healthy for you. And it's also them being selfish that they keep coming to you and not looking at how it affects you in your relationship or marriage. Okay. That is selfish on their part. If they're unwilling to get professional help, then that's on them. Okay. I'm all about helping people. It's what I do, right? But it comes to a excuse me, it comes to a point where if they're not willing to get, even clients, if they're not willing to implement my help strategies to help them, if they're not willing to do anything, I'm going to tell them, why are you here? I thought you were here to get help. That's what I want to do. I want to help. But if you're not willing to help yourself, there's nothing I can do, right? And it's not out of, I promote self-love, self-respect. I want to look at what gets in the way. But if it negatively impacts your relationship, my question is, why is your partner, or if it's you, why are you allowing it to? And what can be done to stop that, or at least eliminate the impact it has on your relationship or marriage? I'm sorry to hear that. It's devastating. I know it's not easy. And you have people, but it's my mom, it's my dad. It's not a gender thing. I hear it from women, from men. And I hate it. I do this. But again, you're not doing anything about it to pull yourself away from it, to say, hey, I'm not getting involved in this stuff anymore. And a lot of people in those situations, the parent or both parents, right, violent towards each other, they might try to play the victim. They might manipulate you. Well, you're my daughter. I have no one else to. Well, you need to talk to a professional. You need to talk to somebody that can help you. Maybe even a, domestic abuse support group. There's got to be something, but what are you willing to do to change it instead of keep complaining or keep maintaining that relationship? I know I sound cold. I am blunt and direct, but I'm very compassionate, I have a lot of empathy. But I'm also not going to allow people to get there and, they might complain about the same thing, but they're unwilling to get to help. I know it's not easy. It's difficult. I empathize. It's hard. It's difficult to reach out. But if you're not willing to do anything about it, then what do? Okay. Now we look at what is going on, and that needs to change. And to get away from that situation, to promote that it's you two against the world. And I tell people, relationships, marriage, it needs to be about you two. Step families, it's a lot more complicated because usually there's kids involved before that relationship was formed, right? So it's the kids were there before that relationship. So that's a totally different dynamic. But then you look at, if there's kids, okay, if there's, you have kids around and, um, you know, your partner's parents are violent with each other. There's drug use, alcohol, those type of situations. Um, and then it's like, and then your partner, well, they still need to see their grandkids. No, because if they're being abusive or that happens around the kids, that's neglect, that's abuse on your kids. And your partners or your parents, I'm sorry, they don't deserve to see your kids. I'm being blunt. I'm thinking of your kids. They don't need to be in that situation until this is fixed, until that is healed. You're not seeing the kids, especially when you two are together. Okay? Because I don't want the kids to get hurt. The kids to witness domestic violence, to witness constant alcohol, drug abuse, or usage is neglectful and it's abusive to your kids. Plain and simple. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, okay? So that's where those situations and the people, we know they can be manipulative, they can guilt trip, but then your partner needs to be on a situation to be able to look at, what can I do to allow myself not to be manipulated, not to be guilt tripped? And I've worked with a lot of individuals, a lot of couples in these situations over, like I said, almost 22 years now. And it's hard. I empathize. I get it, your mom. I know it's hard. But then we have to look at you promoting boundaries, self love, and self respect. What is healthy for you? And if you do have kids and you're allowing them in that environment, shame on you. Oh, my heart bleeds. They need to have, you know what? It's not healthy for your kids to be in the situation with grandma and grandpa if there's drug use, violence, those type of situations. And it could be physical violence, it could be verbal, emotional violence too, right? So that is not healthy for your kids. And that's where I want people, and I actually did a show about this, about what is your relationship or marriage teaching your kids. What's the title? Check it out on YouTube, right? You can check out all the shows, episodes. The easiest way is on YouTube at LoveGuruGreg. And I mean, they're everywhere else: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, trying to think anything else. So those are the situations that I look at that, but the easiest to check out all the episodes is to probably YouTube at LoveGuruGreg. Follow me at LoveGuruGreg, please. My profile above has my website, theartofrelationships.org. I'm going to sign off for tonight. I appreciate you. Peace and love to everybody out there, and let's keep promoting peace and love and equality in the world. Let's get rid of racism, discrimination, sexism, the patriarchal control over women and stuff too, okay? So check it out, profile above, theartofrelationships.org. Thank you, everybody. Check out, I know I missed last week. I took a little breather, couple days off. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peace and love to everybody out there, okay? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a